Marco is overrated. And frankly, had Bush been a better messenger, he has the better message. I mean, if that was me delivering that message, it would have been a much different story, because he has a better... Marco doesn't show up to the United States Senate. Look at Marco's stance on illegal immigration. It's really trouble for him. I don't see how he can win.
Donald Trump earlier today making the case for his presidential candidacy and taking aim at fellow Republican candidate Marco Rubio. This as the new poll was released that shows Trump in a bit of a slump. In the latest NBC News Wall Street Journal poll, Mr. Trump is second to Dr. Ben Carson. Carson at 29%, Trump at 23%, Marco Rubio at 11%. So what does all this mean? Let's call on our panel to discuss. Joining us via Skype from New York City, Liz Peek, columnist for the Fiscal Times. Also joining us, talk show host, political commentator, 2008 Libertarian vice presidential nominee, and the author of the bestseller, The Power of Relentless, Wayne Allyn Root, who joins us there from Vegas. Welcome to you both. Liz, what do you think's behind Ben Carson's surge?
I think that he is another protest vote or candidate, and I think he is someone that people have turned to who have become weary of Trump's insulting, bullying, braggadocio persona. He's sort of the opposite of Donald Trump, right? I mean, he's level-headed, very soft-spoken, always seems to say something kind of reasonable and reasoned, and, you know, obviously it's the greatest compliment to have Donald Trump attack you. It means that he is feeling pressure from that flank. And he's been on Ben Carson for some time now, talking about his temperament, how he doesn't think he's fit to rule, etc. So clearly he takes Ben Carson very seriously, and obviously Carson has done extremely well lately. I would also add that obviously Carson is more of a religious person, or he appears to have a much greater affinity for religion and quoting from the Bible and so forth. I don't think Donald Trump, amongst evangelicals, I don't think Donald Trump really deserves to be considered someone who shares their religious orientation.
All right, well, you've cataloged what you see to be the difficulties for Donald Trump. Wayne, Donald doesn't like second place. He's in second place in this latest poll. Can he come back and end up getting the nomination and prevailing in a general election against the likes of Hillary Clinton?
Well, first disclosure for everyone watching, there's only two guys running for president that are friends of mine who I know, Donald Trump and Ben Carson, and they're both with wonderful quotes on the back of my new book, The Power of Relentless. You'll see Donald Trump's quote and Dr. Ben Carson's quote, and they're both great guys. They've both been very nice to me. They're both class acts. I have nothing bad to say about either one. I don't disagree with anything Liz said, but what I will say is, if you took Mother Teresa, if you took the most beloved figure in the world and the mainstream media decided they wanted to destroy Mother Teresa, they could make you look like an axe murderer in about 2 or 3 weeks, or certainly 2 or 3 months. Donald Trump has been attacked and demonized by the media, not by himself. I know Liz thinks he says bad things, but really the media and the establishment GOP decided they hate this guy and they want to destroy him. And so far, they haven't said a bad word about Ben Carson. Ben Carson has said some very controversial things that are similar to Donald Trump. And I agree with most of what Ben and Donald have said that the media calls controversial. And I think the average blue-collar guy, like my dad, I'm a son of a butcher, my dad would have loved what Donald Trump and Ben Carson have had to say about guns and Muslims and who's qualified for the White House. They both are doing a great job, but the media's chosen to destroy Trump. They've used kid gloves on the nicest guy in the world, Ben Carson. Who could ever hate Ben Carson?
All right, well, let's go to another one of those topics that resonates with blue-collar folks and really all Americans, and that's the topic of illegal immigration. It's a point of contention within the Republican Party. Liz, Trump says Marco Rubio's stance on illegal immigration will hurt Rubio. Do you agree?
I think in the general election, no. I think in the primaries, yes. And we've already seen that. That is probably the biggest knock on Rubio from people on the right, because he was part of the Gang of Eight that tried to enact some sort of bipartisan approach to reforming immigration, which, if you remember, came very close. I would argue that when he was involved in that, the country actually was lined up pretty much accepting that there should be some path towards legal status for the people here illegally. I would argue that it's Obama's very in-your-face executive actions and very aggressive DACA move, etc., that have really made the nation so, and the surge across the border, which resulted from the DACA that he enacted in 2012, that have made this such a contentious issue in this country. You know, a couple of years ago, or I'd say 5 years ago, we were very close to resolving.
Well, yeah, it's an interesting take, Liz, and what you're telling us is Obama's assertive actions have really spoiled things in this regard. But about that, Wayne, and we got about 45 seconds for your answer on this. We're hearing that there's a leaked memo from Homeland Security saying the president is considering defying that federal court injunction against issuing work permits to illegals. Do you think Obama will get away with it? If he does so, will that help Trump's case?
Well, I don't know if it'll get away with it, but I know he's going to do it. I have no doubt in my mind. The man is out of control. And I predicted this. I said the last 18 months of his presidency, the law means nothing. The Constitution means nothing. Obama's constituency is criminals. It's illegal aliens. And by definition, if you're here illegally, you're a criminal. And you'll notice he just put forth an executive order that says you got to ban the box. Federal employees or potential federal employees can't even be asked, do you have a prison record? And I know that's the precursor to what he's going to do the last week out the door, and that's going to be...
We will have to leave it right there. Wayne Allyn Root, Liz Peek, you have our thanks.